Let's talk about document hygiene basics for transactional lawyers. Now, when you're negotiating a contract back and forth with another party, you want to make sure you're tracking the versions of the documents correctly and cleanly. It's very important to keep your document filing system very well organized so you know what version is what. Now, if you're working for a big law firm, they have systems and applications that will help you do this. But if you don't have access to such materials or such applications, then you have to manually do it. And I'll show you how to do that here now. Now, the first thing it's really important to do is to name your file in such a way that it's easy to track the different versions, as well as keep organized all the edits that you make. So the first thing you want to do is take your document, which I've taken one here as an example. This is an action in lieu. This is one of the formation docs. So here's the document name. Now I'm going to add here my client name, Very Good Tech dash action in lieu. That's the document name. And I'm going to put here the date in which I made this. And then my initials, let's say it's AA for my law firm or for me personally. And boom, there you have it. This is now shows the name of the client, the name of the document, the date, and then the name of the person drafting or the law firm drafting it. Now, the reason I like to do it this way is that if you have multiple versions, you can then see them in chronological order, right? It's an easy way to see like version 1, version 2, version 3 without putting the V1, V2, V3. It just you're able to basically see which document came first based on the date, and the initials tells you who drafted it. That's my first pro tip for you. So now that I have a document that's properly titled, let's make some edits to the document itself. And what we're going to do now is create a red line that we'll send to the other side that we're negotiating opposite of. Now, a red line or a black line just is legal speak for a document that compares changes between the two different versions. So let's say I send you a contract, you make some edits, and send me back a red line. Basically, it's just a comparison document. I can see what changes that you made against the document I originally sent you. Now, big firms, again, they have lots of resources and they oftentimes will use programs that will compare PDFs and Word files very easily in their file management system. But if you're a student or you don't have those resources, maybe you're in-house, then you can go about basically providing a red line in two different ways using Word. I'll show you both of those here. And the first thing that you can do is put track changes on and then send that across the other side. So this is how you would do it. You go review, you click track changes. Now, any change you make, a very good tech company, will be reflected here in line. So here's the red crossed out showing what it was there before. And now the blue here shows you what changes that you made. The second way you can create a red line is by running a comparison through Word. So let's say I didn't put my track changes on. I forgot to do it halfway through. Here's two versions of the same document. The left is the original and the right is where I've made some changes. Now, what you want to do in either document, doesn't matter which one, again, go to the review tab and click compare documents. And then basically you're going to compare the original document and the revised document. So you pull down the document name, and then you pull down of the original, you'll pull down the revised one is right here. And you can also press these arrows here and that will switch it if you invert the selection by accident. Click OK. This is just saying because track changes is on, do you still want to run the comparison? Yes. And basically it spits out this whole third version that shows the red line. So here you go. I always like to create a PDF of the red line itself and a clean version of the Word file. So what that would look like would be this. I'll send over to the other side the Word file, and I'll say, we'll label it as clean, and then here's the red line of the same file, and I put the dates of the two documents I'm comparing. So the 11/23/24 version by AA against the 11/24/24 version, again, by BB. That's a good way to go about doing that. A couple of other pro tips here when you're doing edits to a Word file. put the date and the initials of the party who's making the edits in the top right corner in the header itself. That way, when you run the red line, you'll be it'll be easy for you to see what version that you're working off of when you open the doc itself. So that's the simple thing that will make your life a lot easier. The second thing I would recommend doing is if you're going to make a comment to the other side about an edit in the document, let's say, I would not use the bubbled comment feature in Word because that will not show up very easily, very well using track changes or running that comparison red line. Instead, what I like to do is just put a footnote. So in the references here, I would go insert footnote, and then at the bottom, I'll say, note this is the wrong title of the company. And then this will show up when you run that red line, this footnote will show up. Sometimes you'll see instead of note, you'll see NTD, which just means note to draft. It means the same thing. It's just a call out to you to say, hey, this is a comment I need to tell you. So those are my tips and tricks. Hope that helps.